Hi, New Life. My name is Mack Smart, and this is my New Life story. So my family moved from Texas up to Missouri for my dad's job and then also to be closer to family. So I grew up in a small town called Carthage, Missouri. Shortly after we moved to Missouri, my mom and my dad separated and then eventually went through a divorce as well as like a pretty lengthy custody battle. I was the oldest of two children. It was me and my younger sister. And I was at an age of about 5 or 6 where all of this, I was very much remember it. And I also, was really kind of put between my parents in that situation where I think both wanted me to choose the other. So I felt a lot of like weight and responsibility for that. And I also felt the responsibility to really kind of try as best as I could to protect and shield my sister from some of that situation. My mom had made some accusations to the court about my father, and unfortunately we didn't see my father for a period of 2 to 4 months. And talking with my mom about it, really thought that it was my dad's fault, and so I felt a lot of anger and hostility towards him, and also a lot of confusion with my mom. She was going through a pretty deep depression and oftentimes turned towards drugs and alcohol, and brought a lot of the wrong people and into our life and put us in some really unsafe situations. In that period of 2 to 4 months with my mom, we lived in a house that didn't have electricity, didn't have water. We faced food insecurity pretty regularly, and really tried to fight to make it. Before my parents and I moved to Missouri, we had really never been to church. Not really a believer family. But after the divorce, my dad started going to church, and that's where he met my now stepmom. And then as they got married, I was introduced to my stepbrother, who's actually just a couple of months younger than me. So after they got married, we all moved in together and started going to the same school system. And we got really close with my youth pastor. We were doing some small groups and things like that with him, and he really started to pour into me. Because I expressed a lot of interest in learning a lot of the head knowledge of Christianity. He gave me a chance to speak on Wednesday nights and preach a sermon a few times, and then eventually they gave me the opportunity to speak in front of the entire church, like all 3 services when I was in high school. And that opportunity, I think, really opened my mind to the idea of a potential of going into ministry, or at least doing something different than what maybe was the track that my family was really geared towards, and that was the medical field. I made a decision in my senior year of high school to apply and go to Ozark Christian College in Joplin, Missouri to pursue a degree in ministry. There I met my wonderful wife. We've been married in December, it'll be 8 years. And I think that's another piece of my faith journey. My wife and I have very different personalities. I'm much more matter-of-fact type A, and she's much more empathetic, soft, caring, much more loving than myself. When I think of her, I think of the fruits of the Spirit, and how she not only shows those to me each and every day, but also encourages me with those and teaches me how to adopt those and use those. As I've gone through different hardships, whether it be the loss of a relationship with a family member or loss of a loved one, or even some of the highs in my life, each of those things, I feel like as I look back and reflect on them, and sometimes even in the moment, it truly feels like God is weaving together this plan for me, and that it drives and kind of pushes me closer to Him and further in this depth of really who He is. Every year or every phase of my life, I feel like I've gone deeper into my relationship with Christ, and the deeper I go tomorrow, the more I realize how shallow the depth was just yesterday. And I think that to me kind of sums up like God's infinite mercy and grace. Like in growing up and being really hard on myself, I think that's the thing that I've found to cling to most about Jesus is like His forgiveness, that His mercies are new every day. And it frees me to not be the judge of my life and of others, but instead empowers me to enter the world and interact with people from a place of empathy, because I've felt a lot of those low lows, and I think that God's empowered me with the story to be able to relate with folks that are in a similar situation and be able to offer empathy and hopefully the love of Christ that He's ultimately offered me.